Hi, my name is David P. Shapiro. I'm the owner and managing partner of the law office of David P. Shapiro, located in San Diego, California, where my firm helps good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. And in this video, I want to talk to you about what it means to have some credibility as a defense attorney, what it means to have credibility as a person accused of committing a crime when you are before a judge, when your attorney speaking to a prosecutor. And I think, a lot of times, a lot of attorneys out there, whether in San Diego or elsewhere, will talk about how aggressive they are. We'll talk about how, they advocate for their clients. And that's great. You should be advocating for your clients. You should know when to be aggressive and when to, pump the brakes a little bit on that rhetoric, or pump the brakes on those tactics if doing so is in the best interest of your client. But what we see a lot of times is attorneys and the criminally accused, so criminal defense and defendants, have a real issue restoring their credibility once it's lost before a judge, once it's lost before a prosecutor. And we see that when they're asking for things that they know, or at least should know, is just not realistic given the weight of the evidence, maybe not realistic given the courtroom or courthouse where they're in. And what it winds up doing is you see it frequently, and it's a sad and terrible thing to see when you see a defense attorney make an argument or argue a position that's so outrageous, that's so incredible, that's so desperate and so weak that a prosecutor just shuts him out or a judge just shuts him out. And what winds up happening is, if there's a good argument to be made later that day, later that week, later that month, later in the case, it's just like they have earmuffs on because they don't believe anything you're saying. And we're seeing that, here we are in the early part of June 2021, and news just came out that Derek Chauvin's attorneys in Minneapolis are asking basically that he be released from custody at his sentencing later this month in June 2021. And, the writing on the wall here is that he is going to be doing a significant amount of time in prison. And we know that for a couple of things. We know what the presumptive sentence is in the low teens for second-degree murder in the state of Minnesota. And what we also know is that the judge who presided over that case found several aggravating factors true, which in reality, in all likelihood, means that what's going to happen is Chauvin's sentence is probably going to be above what the guideline range calls for in the state of Minnesota. So, we have the guideline range, we have the judge before sentencing making findings that many of these aggravating factors that the prosecutor argued were true and applicable here, position of authority, children on scene, complete, indifference to human life, all of these things that we saw unfold on the body-worn camera and throughout the, 3-week trial in Minneapolis earlier in the spring of 2021. And then Chauvin's defense attorney is asking for, credit for time served. Well, yeah, certainly he's advocating for his client. And trust me, we have been there. We always advocate for our clients as good, if not in many instances, we believe better than anyone else can. But you have to maintain your credibility. You have to see the writing on the wall. You have to feel out the room. You have to feel out the judge. You have to be familiar with these things in order to most effectively represent your client. And sometimes what your client may want you to do is not necessarily what you should do, and not necessarily what's in your client's best interest, even if they don't think so. Because you're the attorney, and you're the one with the experience, and you're the one who should have earned your client's trust. And it's a difficult position sometimes to be in, but you have to maintain your credibility. Because once you lose it, it's very difficult to restore it. So that's something you want to keep in mind. If you find yourself up against the government, if you find yourself up against the state of California, and you're looking for help, make sure your attorney, make sure the law firm you're considering hiring has credibility, has a positive reputation. So you know that when it's time to tell your story, the earmuffs don't go on. And the eyes don't start rolling from the prosecutor, from the judge, from the public. Because the attorney in the law firm you hire has credibility. They know what's in your best interest today, tomorrow, 5 months down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road. If you have any questions about your case, particularly a criminal case here in San Diego, please give my firm a call, 619-295-3555.